Alright guys, so I cooked another OC. I cooked some more like, timing rules and stuff. Cooked some more fabric speed, and we managed to get this time down even further. So now we're sitting pretty good. 1:43 minutes on 1 hour 43 minutes on TM5 for 25 cycles. That's pretty impressive, because if you can look at my best OC so far, the one from this morning, the quote-unquote tightest low voltage D5 OC you've ever seen on YouTube, that did 1:43.39. This beat it by a solid 37 seconds. Okay, yeah, so now we're gonna get to like the whole frame chasers like mentality of like, okay, what's the goal? Okay, look, so I just had a like weird OCD vibe mentality where like my brain was like, listen dude, if you don't retest this, like, you don't know it's stable, like, it might not be stable. And I just kept on, like, pressing myself. I literally sat and pressed myself for hours, till I was like, fine, I'll just go do something else and I'll test it again. So, I decided to check up on the timing rules, just to make 100% sure that they were reasonable and, like, doable. And yeah, so if you come, okay, let's learn. Let's do some education real quick. Some edumacation. Let's just let's take a look. So our dear friend Vey, honestly, this guy can't he can't, what's the word? He's a I don't know what the word is, man. Like, you can't do without him. This guy's a gem. Like, so as far as I understand, like, this thing he wrote, alright, this was like, so he's not great at English, obviously, he himself admits it, but, like, when you read this document, like, it's basically a document almost, like, this is honestly, like, just great. This is really great stuff. Like, this is an awesome post. I mean, he really does not have to do this. Like, you have to understand, like, he doesn't have to do this. The fact that he does it is, like, it's like he's a brilliant person for doing this. Like, just it's a nice thing to do, right? So, as I said before, when I made the oopsie on these timings, these are right to read timings, SC, DD, whatever. So the SC timing everyone uses because it's same chip select. So if you have a Ryzen CPU, you literally have to use SC. There's no way you can't use it, because same chip select means like timing on the same chiplet, like this, you know what I mean? So everyone has one IO die, unless you had two IO dies. So the chip select will be like the IO die. So on the chip select, it trains at 1, which is one cycle, which is really quick, and it makes sense because the same chip select means the same IO die means, it's like, it's all, is it, I think it means chip select. I mean, I think it is like do with the IO die. I don't think chip select means like the RAM IC, because it might mean that, but then it wouldn't really make sense. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, everyone's board trains them to 1, so I assume it's the IO die. But it's 1 for everyone. SC is always 1. SD and DD is where you get kind of confused, because SD is same DIM and DD is different DIM. Now, that should, in other words, translate to Intel's different rank. So same DIM, but the other rank of the DIM, and then different DIM is a different rank on different DIM. So that's how it should work, and that's why you should be able to do 1. Now, when I reread this over and over again, eventually I came to understand what he meant. So I read this section again, and then I read some of like these sections here. There's one of them over here, somewhere here. But basically, if you read through all of it, you understand that basically the reason why you wouldn't want to run 1s on these, if you can't, is because running 1 means you allow the throughput to be as high as possible. When you add values here, you actually add latency that doesn't have to be there. Like, you can manipulate the latency, as in, like, you can manipulate the delay in commands, and add delay, like add user-defined delay, by manipulating these timings. Now, you can choose to do that. If you don't add delay artificially, what happens is you run as fast as possible. Now, obviously, if you had dual rank dims, you'd need to respect these timings because now you have dual rank. But on single rank, you don't have to respect them. So you'd be like, why would you use them? Well, simple. It's because if you use them, you can stabilize the RAM easier. So if you run ones, it just means your IMC is working harder. That's all it means. It just means the IMC works much harder because you're now running no delay. Like the timings of firing, just like on tick, just like as quick as possible. And the faster you make the commands line up, the harder it is to run the RAM. So that's why you might want to add user delay here. But if you want to run the fastest possible setup, you can just do ones. And it obviously depends on the IMC and the chips you have and whatever, but like that's neither here nor there. So that those can be ones. That's legit now. Same with WROD. If you read the section here, basically what it's over here, basically what you find is that you'd want to run one, but there's no way you're doing one, so you do two if you have the right environment for two, and then you need higher if you have if you have too little voltage or whatever. I don't know. RDWR, same idea, but below 15, man, I find it's terrible to run 14. I can't run 14. 15 seems to work, so I'm happy with 15. It's about as low as I can go, so great. TRTP 12, you could try less, but it's really hard to get less, and I don't think there's much performance benefit. So 12 is what we all use pretty much nowadays. It's pretty like standard to use 12. 12, everyone uses 12 basically. Now we come to this section, and now I can start to kind of elaborate more clearly on what these actually do, the SCLs. If you're a Ryzen owner, now you can read Vay's transcription in this post if you want, but I'm gonna try and do it like grade 5 style, like as simple as possible, right? Oh, by the way, let me just move this around so you guys know, like I didn't fake this, but yeah. I mean, so that's done. I've got my screenshot already. It's uploaded to the OneDrive folder. Let's double check. So, yeah, it's this one. Yeah, here it is. Cool. So I can close this out now. Right. Anyway, so basically. You ideally want to start with your... Wait, let me just get the timings again. So, that's the first statement. Now, what does that mean? That means, if you're a smart person, you work backwards. So, you find the lowest possible SCLs you can use at a given data rate, and then you backtrack them to the actual precursor timings. Now, so if you want to use 5 RD SCL, right? Okay, so you need so you guys know math. Well, just like brackets first, obviously. So basically this would be whatever this value is, and then so a practical example would be, by the way guys, below 5 is extremely hard. Like 4 is really crap hard, and 3 is like you can't even train. 4 is like something you don't see often on the internet. I've seen 4 like once by Dom in some OC, crazy OC cooked up, but like 4 is mad hard. 3 is untrainable, like pretty much untrainable. Like you black screen, like no boot, completely unresponsive, just no way. So basically your goal is 5, right? So what can you do? Well, you can do, it's going to be, let's say you want to use conventional 8 for CCTS, right? So you want to use 8 RDS. So it's going to be minus 9 to 5, so you need 14. So you can do 14 CCTL, which is basically always going to be minus, right, 8 plus 1 is 9, so minus 9, right, because of this rule, right? So there you go. You could do 5. So that's how you do it. Then you would set 14 on CCTL. Then 14 CCTL times 2 times 2. Wait, where's it now? Man, times 2 equals 28 TW Oh, sorry, L. Sorry, not SL. And then that. So now 28 TW minus CCTS plus 1, which is still going to be 9, right? 8 plus 1 is 9. Right, that's going to be 21 on TWRW or SCL. So you'd end up 521. Now, that's kind of why whenever you train your RAM on Ryzen, you find these like weird, like trained in values that you can't really understand. Like, you don't really understand how it got there. And like, no matter what you change, you just don't seem to be able to affect it. That's because the what am I saying? The SCLs themselves. So that's why when you're like slick, you're like, okay, I'm gonna change WTRL, I'm gonna do this, but you haven't changed the SCL value. So the SCL value doesn't like, basically, you have to override them and then fix the math yourself. So this would all work, because now you have everything matching, all the math lines up. So you run 5, 21, this 28, this 14, so 14 on RDL. Man, why'd I do that? It's L. So you do 14 RDL, 8 RDS. So 8, so you'd be 8, 14, 28, and then 5, 21. Right? That's how you do it. So I run 5, but I've been blessed able to use RDS 6. So RDS 6 means CCX is going to be 6, and I use RDL 12 or CCDL 12. So the math works out simply like this. It goes 12 minus 6 plus 1 equals to 5 T RD SCL. Right? Now TRDL times 2 equals 24. TRS 24 minus 6 plus 1 equals 17 TWR SL. And now everything works. And now there's no autocorrection. That's why you noticed that I had looser timings. I even had looser TWR, right? This TWTRL change, I changed my TWR because this affected that. Like, this got affected. Because in the equation I gave you guys on YouTube was cast right plus WTRL plus 8, which is burst chop. And that's 60 for me now. Which does happen to be multiple of 6, so it means I can run 60. So 60 was the right value of TWR. In this context, right? In this context. Like, right here, right? So, So this lines up. This all adds up. This all maths out. Okay, that totally maths out. And the nice part is I still can maintain my 4-to-1 rate, or the 4-to-1 for. So it's TRDS times 4 is still T4. T4 in my case. I don't know if 20 means you can run TRDS 4. That just means CCD S4, or I guess you could even do Ryzen But let me just warn you right now, you're not running 3. On this one, there's no way you're running 3. You're not running 3. Okay, no, I'm lying. I think I've seen it once. I think some crazy person was running 3. I think I saw once. One time I saw it. I seen it once, but I doubt you're doing it. Like, I just doubt it. You're not doing it. Like, there's, like, if you come to me and show me 3, I'm gonna be impressed. But like, I doubt you're doing it. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna require a immense IMC and just a lot of nerves and just effort. And yeah, you're not doing 3. 4 you could do. I mean, 4 is more realistic. I've seen 4 quite often, actually. 4 is still in the realms of possibility. I mean, it's not like out of the question. 4, you probably could do 4. Probably. And that just changes your math, right? That's all it does. But for me personally, I just settled on 6 because, you know what, like, I was happy to get down from 8 already, and I just, yeah, 4 feels like it'd be kind of a stretch, and then you bring T4 down to 20 to get the, you know, benefits as well, and I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I really like the 4-to-1 relationship. I want to believe this, guys. I want to believe this. And what's the result, Intel? Is that you end up with a clusterfuck that is Intel right now. Intel's timing conventions is the epitome of dysfunction. It's like, no offense to anyone that still runs Intel, but like, if you run Intel, like, you cannot present to me anyone's config that is objectively, like, correct in all facets. Like, in everyone's config, you can poke holes and be like, that shouldn't be there, that shouldn't be there. By that rule, it shouldn't be there. We're like quantum physicists discussing like RAM timings. Like, everyone's got a different theory. Everyone's got a different theory, and everyone's arguing, and it's like no one's ever right because like no one actually knows what's going on. And that's because Intel's IMC has D4 minimums. Now, people don't want to believe that there's actually a difference in the two technologies, but like I don't understand that because there clearly is. Like D5's CAS has a 24 cutoff, right? The fact that D5's sub-timings have weird cutoffs is like, I don't even know if that means that the BIOS is catered to DDR5. I didn't even know. Because, like, the weird part is CWL can get dropped all the way down to, like, 14 on Intel. But, like, I don't get that, though. Because on Ryzen, you're locked at -2. Like, and in the past, like, we never really did run, like, you know, CAS 30 and then CWL 10. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Something makes me think that's really weird. I'm leaning towards, like, the reason why people see, like, CWL being able to, like, drop down and then, like, having benefits is, like, because it affects their tertiaries that they set. And then maybe, like, I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. Like, honestly, now I'm talking bullshit. Now I just don't know. I don't know. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. I got no idea. Like, all I can say is Intel's IMC, super ambiguous, goes against a lot of documentation. Like if you look at DDR5 configs on Intel, I don't know what's going on, bro. I don't know. And like people tune timings, and like certain timings have no effect. Like I'm talking like RRDS like 4 Intel has like no effect, and like TWR like 12 Intel has no effect. Like it doesn't do anything. Like. So, I don't even know. A lot of weirdness. I like the AMD IMC because they made it for DDR5. It means... Now, that's not always a benefit because, like, it's nice to have the option to go D4 on Intel, for sure. It's nice to have the option because, I mean, let's say you want to... Let's say you acquire, like, some limited edition sticks, like the HOF sticks, for example. Like the ones I'm getting. Like the HOF sticks, the BDI sticks. And now you're like, I want to use them. But I don't want to run old hardware because if you guys checked, old CPUs that support D4 aren't a good value. Like, you're better off just buying a used Alder Lake chip or like a used Raptor Lake chip for D4. And now you're getting all the benefits of Raptor Lake or Alder Lake, plus you're getting D4. You can still use old RAM. It's like, it's nice to have the option, but it does add ambiguity. And it means that you run into these kinds of issues where the Intel IMC really just doesn't... Like, you really don't know what you're doing. Like, you know why it's... provable is because, like, look at the results. Like, the amount of, like, retrain instability, the amount of performance regression when tightening timings, like, so many weird, like, things you observe that Intel users experience, and I bet a lot of it is just bad training because of autocorrection. Because the autocorrection does mean your IMC is doing extra work, and it does complicate things, especially when you're, like, trying to push 8000, for example. Autocorrection is a real thing, so I mean, it's a weird thing on Intel where, like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, you just kind of have to try and test and see what happens, and it's like a mess because what works one day doesn't always work the next day. That's the problem. Now AMD is not void of this. Like I said, 6400 will fail on you. Like, it will fail on you, depending on, like, you know, a lot of factors, but it will fail on you. It can fail on you. Maybe if you have the right IMC it won't, but like, it's hard to run and it changes something. There's something it changes in the background that we can't see. But yeah, 6400 for me, I've just given up on it. Not worth my time. 62 is where it's at. It's been fun. Like, it's been really fun. Really pleasant experience tuning at this data rate because it's been so straightforward, man. Like, so, like, 1 + 1 = 2. Like, so easy to test and just fun. Whereas 64 was more reminiscent of Intel, and I left Intel for a reason, and this is one of the reasons. Was I didn't like the IMC. Just the IMC just had too many quirks. Part of it made me didn't like the architecture. So I just nothing was also the obvious thing with the cores and the clock speed and the heat and the current migration, and then, like, you know, what stress tests can you run? Like, that also really bugged me. And AMD, I like the package. I like the presentation of, like, how simple and how well put together, like, it all is. Now, Forget about the oxide breakdown shit. That's unlucky. It's whatever. If they are made, it's fine. But the architecture itself, you gotta appreciate the architecture. Like, you gotta appreciate the organization and the sense behind the architecture. It's so sensible. Like, it's so nice. It's so, like, just straightforward and repeatable and testable. It's so good for just trying different things and comparing. Whereas Intel, it's so, like, ambiguous. It's just impossible to work with sometimes. It just feels like you're bashing your head against the wall. And it's like, I don't know, man. Not super happy with it. Like, I like AMD's approach here. I like the way their IMC trains and how it's designed and how the timings have rules that you can follow and do math. I like it. It's cool. So yeah. And that's how to really line up, like, these timings and the SELs and this timing. WTRS, this will affect, this along with this will affect your SDs and DDs if you use them. So on dual rank, you might have to play with this one and raise it or whatever to raise something here, and that might happen. But on single rank, T-burst, it's all good. 3 works if you have the right ICs and the right voltages. Then 3 works. But otherwise on dual rank, you might have to look at this. But 3 works for me. Has no negative effect here. There's nothing it's breaking. Totally fine. So otherwise, guys, I mean, the math here is really good. If you have a Ryzen setup that you want to try my timings, go for it. This does math out for a die. And only other thing I could say is there's an alternate way to run the RAS and RC. So what you can do is, this is a potential thing you can do. You can do this. So you'd run so RCDWR, which right now we can't change. It's 36 right now for us. So 36 plus it was TWR, so which would be 60 for me, and then it was plus something else. What was it now? Was it plus cache write latency? It was cache write latency, so plus 26. So plus 26 is 122. You could do 122 TRAS for me now, and then you'd match. So conventional style. And you've always seen this, right? You've always seen this. This is like basic stuff, right? RTP. And then RC equals to RAS plus RP. Super simple, super basic. Works really well. Works like a charm. Usually doesn't cause any weird problems. It can be a bit stressful on IMC, obviously, because, you know, TRC is quite low now. But yeah, it's always a simple way to do it. Now, the alt is this. Now, this is a bit wacky, but you would do this. So you could do plus ooh, weirdness, right? Now we're getting weird. So now it's like 122, 122. That's weird, but that does work on M5 apparently. Now, I could test it. I probably should. I kind of want to test it, but I might convince myself to test it out, like, tomorrow or something. Because I want to go game now, but, like, yeah, I really want to game right now, because I haven't played, like, enough games in the last few days. So, yeah, like, that could work well. It could result in some really interesting results. Like, it might have better throughput, even. But otherwise, all my other timings, 100%. Full marks. There's no mistakes here. There's no mistakes here. The only mistake, quote-unquote, would be that you could argue I should be running this for my RAS RC for more optimal throughput, but to me, I don't know. I kind of like the low timings here, but you could argue this would work. This might be better for overall throughput and, like, maybe latency even. Who knows? But yeah, so this is like, it's an interesting idea that I might look at, but otherwise, I think a lot of you guys would probably want to run this kind of setup because it's very easy. It's just like you know, it's very simple. Just, you know, plus this and then 48 plus that, there we go, done. And then it's like super simple, super tight, low timings, looks pretty easy, right? But if you want to be like technical, this might be like a more 4D chess approach of like setting it up. Especially if you're respecting the WR value, right? This won't work. So say this won't work if you use arbitrary TWR values. 48. Like, if you just like blanket set for like broad stroke, just like, you know, just like fully set 48 and everything, and like you don't care about the other timings, then this won't work because it's not correct then. But if you have TWR correct like I do, like the math works out. Like, so I'm just gonna cut this. I'm gonna say if TWR equals to WTRL plus CAS plus B bootstrap. Right? So 28 plus 24 plus 8. It's 24 plus 8. Yeah, so this works if this is the case. But if not, then don't bother. Then just use this formula. But like, arguably speaking, if I'm using the proper right recovery value, I should maybe do this. I should probably use it. Maybe. You know, I might test it just now. I might just do it just for the shits and gigs, just to see what happens. You know, just to see if it does something interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I might take a look at it. It might be interesting. But yeah, so otherwise, that's about that, guys. I don't really see anything else to comment on. Yeah, that's about that. So I will check you guys in the next one. Hopefully, some more results. Yeah, I know I'm covering a lot of Ryzen stuff right nowadays, guys. I'm doing a lot of Ryzen tuning because it's just fun. It's really fun. It's very simple, intuitive. So I'm enjoying it. I'm having a blast on Ryzen. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.